Yeah.
Like everybody else, nothing else to do. So I just started making videos with this character I'd been working on.
How did you think of this character?
Well, he's based loosely on my alcoholic grandfather.
Okay.
He used to always tell me and my brothers and sisters and cousins these weird stories, and he was kind of out of his mind half the time. And coupled with that, and then I was watching a friend of mine who was he was trying to become an Instagram life coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this guy is, he's got a really nice body. He's a great looking dude.
Welcome to the Matt and Monica podcast, where we have a special guest. We have Rodney Norman here.
Super excited.
Yeah.
I was excited since we got in contact with you.
Yeah.
Excited.
It's
Well,
pretty
it's
cool
an
experience.
absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
No problem. We're actually at a local restaurant. They're opening in a couple weeks. It's called The Farmhouse. And they were more than happy to allow us to record here, which is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, super thankful.
Yeah.
It's going to be so nice.
And the paint fumes are amazing.
Hell yeah.
Kind of.
Yes.
Breathe it right
Oh, man.
Yeah, small world. When we got here, we realized some of the people building the place is, one of my contractors, but
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yep.
But
Small towns are awesome.
Yep.
Yes, they
the
are.
Best. Well,
So-
we want to thank you for traveling so far too.
yeah,
Oh, it just, gave me something to do.
yeah.
I'm excited.
I don't know if I would have drove 4 hours to see us, but I appreciate it.
Well, I've done a whole lot more for a whole lot less.
Yeah. Cool. I didn't really plan anything out. I wanted just to kind of let this free flow and just talk about life because you seem to hit the nail on the head with a lot of your satire online,
Yes.
to say the least, especially when you talk about like hardship and just life not going as planned and such.
Staying motivated and happy every day, taking day by day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no plan to any of this, where it's all just sort of a big crapshoot. And so the more you try to make a plan, the worse it gets for you because you want it to be in a plan. Well, there is no plan.
Yes.
So when you let go of that, boy, life is just a lot more fun.
Right.
You
Yeah.
just go, you know what? I have no idea what's going to happen, but let's go.
Story of my life.
Let's have a good time.
Well, if you
Yes.
make a plan and it doesn't happen, you're disappointed.
Yeah.
So just kind of go with it. And if
Absolutely.
something good happens, then you'll be happy.
Yeah.
As I like to say, it's not about lowering your expectations. It's about eliminating them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's like, it's just going to be what's going to be.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of Eddie Pierno. He's got a podcast. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's a motivational speaker, and he's got a wicked channel. And he's actually inspired me for a lot of what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But he talked about the whole phrase, you obviously have heard ready, aim, fire, but he says ready, fire, aim, because a lot of times when you make the move and you just do something without, really taking a lot of time to aim, you learn along the way. And that's kind of my life, I know I drove by the recruiter's office when I was 27. I didn't put any thought in it. I was going through a divorce, and I know you were in the military, I believe in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about that if you're open.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. How old were you when you went in?
I was 21.
Okay. I wish I did it when I was younger.
Did you just
Yeah.
do it kind of on a whim like he did? Or were you like, this is really what I
It
want to
was very much a whim because I had been, I was going to school full time. I was working 2 jobs, and I remember one day I had a nice car, and so my dad was always taking my car, and so my dad and my brother were coming to pick me up as I was closing down. I was working in a men's clothing store in a mall.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was pulling the gate down to the front. They were come walking up, and I say, "Hey, just meet me in back." But as they were coming walking up to me, I had this really clear voice that just said, "You have the day off tomorrow. Go join the Marine Corps."
Yeah.
It was just one of those, what? Because I had never considered the military
Really?
at any point in time. And, I shot guns, but I didn't really care for, about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and plus I was very, got non-conformist. I was an actor. I was going into, all that stuff. And so
Yeah.
I was like, being in the military, last thing on my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
But I
night and day.
I had no school. I had neither of my jobs. It was like the first day off I'd had in months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is crazy. And I just couldn't get the idea out of my head.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was back then, it was the first Gulf War was ramping up, you know. And I couldn't stop the feeling. And when I finally just said, okay, I guess I'll do it. I just had this moment of just peace. Like, this is the right thing to do. So, so the next day I didn't even know where a recruiter was. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
And I drove over there and walked in, and the guy looks at me and goes, "Can I help you?" I go, he thought I was lost because a lot of people come in there looking for something else. So they were waiting to, you know, tell me somewhere else to go. You know, the aquarium place is 2 spots down.
Yeah.
And I go walk in there and he goes, "Can I help you?" I go, "Yeah, I'm here to join the Marine Corps. What am I supposed to do?" And he's like, he was eating a sandwich and he was like, hold on a second. It was his first day as a recruiter, and they were having a meeting in the back, and they told him to go sit out front and say in case somebody comes in. Yeah, so he was like, and so I joined, and I like I said, I didn't know why, but it just felt like this is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. Never looked back. I never regretted going in.
You're like the first person that's been in the military along with me that has that mindset. 'Cause I have zero regrets at all. Not saying there aren't times that were difficult in the military, but I have no regrets. And in fact, I miss it. But
I mean, I was grateful. I never saw any real live action. And so
I didn't either.
To that, I understand. Other people, when you actually have to go to war, I could see why they would hate it. And but no, for me, it was a wonderful experience. I met a lot of great people. Had a good time. I actually was one of the few people. My health was better when I left the Marine Corps than when I went in.
I was in a lot better shape.
So I had no regrets.
So I tried to join the Marine Corps, but the recruiter lied to me because I had 3 dependents, and he told me, being that I have these dependents, I won't be able to join the Marine Corps. So I went to the Army. Then they lied to me. No, they denied me as well. Then I saw the Army Reserve recruiter, and he's like, essentially, I'll get you in.
And he was like, I'll take it.
And I wanted to go active duty. I wanted to just shit and get, going through a divorce and whatnot. I was just wanted a little bit of an escape, and and I had it. Just coming back to the reserves in a local unit, and it was the right choice because it allowed me to be in my kids' lives a lot more. So But what was your MOS?
I was a field radio operator.
Oh, okay.
Which is basically a grunt with a target on his back.
Yep.
In fact, I remember the day they told me, I went in, I told them I was in radio, like I was going into radio broadcasting and, broadcast. That's what I wanted to get into. And they lied to me because they told me, communications, that's perfect. They totally lied to me. But when I found out the actual job I would be getting, where I was in it, you go to, in Marine Corps, you have a basic boot camp like everybody else, but ours is longer.
Yep.
And then after that, you have Marine combat training. Yeah. Which is another 4 weeks of.
That's where the Crucible is?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have all that in Mount Mother Effer. So anyway, so it's there that you get assigned if you don't have a guaranteed MOS, this is where you get told what your job is going to be.
Yep.
And the first thing they said was the 0311s, which is the basic infantry. And they're like, first to fight, first to die, hoorah. And, that's usually the biggest group.
Yep.
Well, as they're going down, they get to my group, and they said 2531s, and there was about 6 or 7 of us. And they go, okay, you basically are 0311s, but you die faster.
Wow. And you're just like,
You have the shortest life expectancy on the battlefield. Hoorah, Marine Corps.
Oh my gosh.
So that was a fun experience.
Jeez.
So
I was a combat engineer, and I went to pre-deployment training, and I believe we were supposed to deploy, but they never ended up doing it. And it was one of those things because I was about 3 years into our relationship, and I wanted to deploy. I'm like, I don't want to train to play all this time and do nothing. Not that I wanted to go overseas to kill anyone. It was just like I just wanted to do something. And then
you feel like that was your purpose. Like you were in it, you wanted to be in it.
Then when we were about to deploy, though, I was like, my relationship's going good and my job's going good. I'm like, I really don't want to go anywhere, and I didn't want to be away from her for a year plus by any means. So
I'd thought about staying in because when I first went in, I was like, I'm just doing 4 and getting out. I was just treating it like it was college or something. Just do my time. But I was really having a good time, and I enjoyed what I was doing, and I was considering staying in. And then one day, we had just gone out on this one exercise, and I remember we're in a tent. We were just gotten the communication stuff all set up and everything. And this first sergeant comes in, and he looks at me and he goes, "Norman." I go, "Yes, first sergeant." He says, "Grab 2 Marines and meet me out front." Like, okay. So I picked 2 Lance Corporals, and we went out front, and he says, "The 3 of you, I can't explain to you what you're doing, but you're driving home. You're getting loaded up with your personal gear. You're flying out in 4 hours."
Wow.
Didn't tell us where we were going or what we were doing.
Were you scared?
Marine. It was like, all right, let's bring it
let's
on.
go. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I still had a wife and a kid, but it was like, still Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Well, as we're driving back to the main area, back to the company area where we were going to get in our personal vehicles and go home. By the time we got there, the first sergeant had called and said, "Hey, we have to have a radio system set up over in this other part of base, and you're closer than anybody else. Go to this company, pick up this equipment, go over there and set up that radio." And we're like, "Okay, awesome." So we go and we set that up. We still think that we're still leaving somewhere, but we go, we get that set up, everything's up and running. And then the first sergeant comes later and he says, "Okay, you're not going where you were going to go before, but you're going to stay here and man this radio, and we're going to bring 4 of the Marines. You guys are going to basically keep this going," because it was real world stuff, because stuff was going down in Haiti.
Yeah.
And the original thing would have been, what had happened was after I left to go take off, the first sergeant got word that they needed this radio system set up, and they already knew that we were on our way. So he changed things, and he went and grabbed the sergeant and 2 other Marines, told them to go home and get ready and take off. They were gone for 8 months. They were on a ship the entire time, just floating around Haiti for 8 months. He said they're all like, it was miserable.
Yeah. Wow.
And but that was supposed to be me. I was like that close to being gone. And at the time, I couldn't tell my wife what was going on. All I could tell her is I'm leaving, and I can't tell you where I'm going or what I'm doing.
Wow.
That's hard for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go, we get set up, and it actually ended up working out pretty good, because I got taken out of this field exercise where I was going to be gone for a month and not see my wife at all, to getting this new assignment where I was in charge of this radio setup, and I basically would work 1 day on and 2 days off.
Yeah.
So I was home a lot. So it worked out really nice for me.
Yeah.
But it was just that moment of, wow, at any minute I could just be gone. And that was sort of my final, okay, yeah, I think I'll get out, do something else.
Yeah. So how long were you in for?
4 years.
Okay,
yeah.
it was 4 years.
Yeah.
Was there any I wanted to ask, are you still with the same woman, or was that a different
Oh, yeah, same woman. Yeah,
cool.
We're coming up on 32 years.
Good for you,
Yay.
man. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. And I wish I met her younger. But
Yeah.
then again, things happen the way they do, I believe, for a very good reason.
If it had been for all your experiences that got you here, you may have never met.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I noticed, and sorry,
No, go
I
ahead.
feel like I
No.
just keep
Go ahead. Say
stealing
whatever's
this.
on your mind.
No, I just noticed, because we saw you probably, I would say about 2 years ago, we saw us wondering, like, who the hell is this guy with the crazy hair?
So
and
funny.
and like,
I loved it.
and like, it irritates me almost immediately, because I just think of other people that would see you, and then, because you probably have, a lot of people that know your satire, you're just poking fun at a lot of major issues in the world that just people just need to relax. Like, life is not that serious. It's really not.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's happening for you, not to you. Like, even if you go through hard times, you can utilize those hard times as momentum, and
Yeah, but it's like we say a lot of times when people are going through stuff, they're the victim.
Yeah.
It's like you shouldn't see it like that.
Yeah,
It's
and,
like lessons
Yeah.
in life, learn, and then be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like-
Well, I make videos explaining like a life is more about what you, not what's happened to you, but how you deal with it.
Yeah.
How you choose to deal with it. And inevitably, every time I make some kind of a post to that degree, whether I'm quoting someone else or my own video, somebody's like, "Oh yeah, well, what about somebody who was abused as a child?" And I'm like, especially them.
Yeah. I love it.
You know,
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Oh, you're just diminishing what happened." Yeah, exactly. Diminish.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
it.
But it's like when that stuff happens to you, like, what are you going to grow up and just like either do
Learn
the
from
same
it.
thing, or are you going to, be depressed and just like miserable in life, or are you going to take that and learn and grow and not be like that and help people maybe that went through it? And
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, how as horrible as it might have been,
Yep.
you survived it. Here you are. Now you can either become bitter or you can become
Exactly.
better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you always have that choice. And until you finally accept that you have that power, you're going to constantly be handing it off. And, it's like we're taking away the responsibility of our own lives and handing it to somebody else and saying, see, my life's a mess because of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're
victim
giving-
mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're giving the control
Yeah.
to that other
Absolutely.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is easy, which is
Super
a
easy.
cop-out.
Yeah.
And it's a crutch.
It gave me cold chills when you said that, because
Yeah.
I've been saying to my kids lately, I've been using the phrase a light switch. I say, everything that happens, whether it's good or bad, you have a light switch decision. It's that simple to flick it on or off. You can either choose to build off of it, and like you said, you can be better from it, or you can choose to go down the same path.
Yeah.
And because life is, as Mr. G says, Mr. G has been a pivotal person in our lives. He was
Yep.
on episode, I think 13. He talks about bullying. He's been in my kids' lives. He works at the school, and he's just a beautiful
amazing.
souled
Yeah.
individual. And he talked about bullying because he was heavily bullied, and he always says to my son, he says, make good choices, make good choices. And it's funny because it's got such a
Yeah.
It's been repeated so much that my son will say, he'll be like, I know, Dad,
knows.
I gotta make good choices. Yeah, and it's
Yep.
adorable though, and and then the same son of mine, he's loving church, and he's pretty young. He's only 10, and he's all about making good choices and going to church and doing the right thing, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But, sorry, I get stuck on tangents quite
That's
easily.
okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's my whole career is tangents.
Oh man.
I think a lot of times when people are talking about that light switch, like something in your brain like kind of just clicks when you're in a bad situation. Like that literally happened with me. So like normally I would probably be like, yeah, right. People have to work up to it. But literally something just clicked and I was like, what am I doing? Let's do better.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
just take off and go like up the mountain. It's like, it's a real thing. It's
Yeah.
a real thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That then people will get mad at me because they talk about going to therapy. I had this debate with somebody. They were saying, well, you can't just what happens to you. That's stupid because it's you can't diminish what happened to you and and all these things. And I'm like, well, how do you get through all of that? PTSD or whatever you want. How do you get through that? He says, well, you got to go to therapy, and the therapist helps the individual come to terms with what happened and everything. I said, okay, so what's the point of the therapy? And he would never admit it. 3 times he said the same thing, but without saying it. And basically it is, you forget it and move on. How do you finally stop thinking about it and dwelling on it and just moving on with your thoughts?
Yeah.
And his whole thing, his whole point was, oh, you can't forget about it. Yeah, you can.
You can.
Don't let it
Absolutely
control
can.
your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like think about it and you recognize you're thinking about it and then get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of it, it's like, you said, it's a switch. It's
Yeah.
just, you just have that moment. It's like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just that easy.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely is.
Because it's just you replace the thought, and you're strong enough and you're capable of doing this. Your brain is geared to doing it.
Yeah.
But if you keep obsessing it, your brain thinks, oh, we're thinking about this now, and it's just
Yep.
going to keep obsessing and obsessing and
Yeah.
obsessing.
Yeah.
Like you can train your brain to do one or the other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have hope,
Yeah.
we've talked about this mainly. I keep bringing this up, but I heard this saying a couple months ago. It's this. They did a study back in, I believe, is 1800s, where they put mice in a bucket of water and they timed how long it'd be before they would drown. And I guess it was on average around 3 minutes. So they took a same group of same type of mice, same age, whatever, and they threw them in a bucket. And right before they died, they saved these mice. And then they took those mice afterwards and they put them in a bucket of water. Those same mice that would generally last about 3 minutes were then living and swimming around, I guess, for 3 days straight, just swimming in circles because they had hope that they're going to be saved again. And, I think that goes and, you can apply that to a lot of like people that are going through hard times, and people have to have hope. And there's a lot of different ways you can find hope. And, You know, especially right now, one of my big points of, you know, my podcast, one of the things that hits at home for me, obviously because of my sister and stuff, is the opioid crisis, because the drugs aren't getting any better by any means. You know? Not at all.
They are getting more addictive and easier to get.
Yes. I mean, methamphetamine's everywhere now. And it's just crazy. It just made me think about the whole hope thing. And,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, everyone needs hope, but it's hard because a lot of kids that are going through tough times, like they don't know where to go for that. Because if their parents are into that kind of stuff, they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we keep making heroes out of people who shouldn't be heroes, and so they're looking to that as a way out, and it's a dead end.
Yeah, no,
You know?
absolutely.
I like that you say that because just like social media alone, with people that are not real on social media, these young girls think that that's what they want to be like. That's what they want to act like and look like, and I'm like, they're not real.
Yeah.
But they think they are.
It's all the
Yeah.
scam.
It's all filters and you name it, you know, people just, you know, like this is how Exhibit A is how we're all supposed to be. No, everybody's supposed to be an individual. Everyone's supposed to be unique, you know. And
Yeah, and it's not getting better.
no.
Well, that's the thing about that social media is it becomes an escape,
Yeah.
but they start thinking that is reality,
Yeah.
and that's where we have the loss, where, you know, when they get into the real world and start having real experiences,
They don't know how to
deal with
handle it. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, they're like a lost puppy. Like they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. Or how
That's
to
why.
act.
That's why part of my thing on, especially TikTok, you know, my ultimate goal was just to mock it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I
I
know.
was just
I
making
know.
fun of trends, making fun of the whole thing.
Yep.
And people like, you know, think I'm being serious. I'm like, no, I'm ridiculing this whole thing.
Right.
Yes.
People get so offended. It doesn't matter what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to be one of those people years ago where if I thought something was entertaining or funny, and I have the military dark sense of humor, I would share it, and you know, I could have had more taste in some of the stuff I shared. But, you know, I've grown up,
Probably
I've changed,
a little bit, but
and a lot.
Yeah, you
but
have.
yeah, I don't know. Was there a certain point in your career where you like hit a point where you realized like, hey, like this is kind of working? You know, people are actually, you know, following along, and whether it was comedy or, you know, because I don't know, what did you start off doing?
Well, I was pursuing an acting career, and was my ultimate goal.
Yep.
And then after, you know, I was in the Marine Corps and got married, and my wife, to her credit, you know, because I was pursuing, as soon as I got out of the Marine Corps, I just started going full-time into acting. And I was getting a lot of background work, but nothing real great. And she just kept pushing me. She's just like, you need to do stand-up. And I'm going, I don't know the first thing
Right.
about getting into stand-up. She's like, just figure it out. And I was like, well, okay.
yeah.
So I finally just decided, okay, I'm going to do it. Found an open mic, wrote a few jokes,
Yep.
got on stage, got a couple chuckles, and that was it. I was like, this is it. This is what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And so I'd worked as a comic for many years, and I was having fun. It was cool. And then eventually, because I had the GI Bill, I was like, I should go back to school because I get paid to go to school with
Yeah.
the GI Bill. So I'm like, why not
Yeah.
finish it up? And while I decided to go into philosophy because I was always interested in it. I'd read stuff when I was in high school and, you know, first couple years of college. I was always interested in philosophy and religion, theology. And so I finally took the classes, and I realized that this was better than anything I could take to be a better comedian, because all comedy is just bad philosophy. And so I got the degree, and then I started applying more and more of the philosophy into my comedy stuff. And then, you know, COVID came along, and all my comedy stuff gets canceled. So I'm
Yeah.
like everybody else, nothing else to do. So I just started making videos with this character I'd been working on.
How did you think of this character?
Well, he's based loosely on my alcoholic grandfather.
Okay.
He used to always tell me and my brothers and sisters and cousins these weird stories, and he was kind of out of his mind half the time. And coupled with that, and then I was watching a friend of mine who was he was trying to become an Instagram life coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this guy is, he's got a really nice body. He's a great looking dude. He's very successful. He's married to a hot wife who's a doctor. They live in a mansion. He drives a Ferrari.
Perfect life.
He's just got this perfect life,
Yeah.
And he's making these videos of, telling people how to live their life, and they're getting no views at all. And it was funny to me because he was saying really encouraging and inspirational things, but nobody was listening because they're like, nobody connects with him,
Right.
And so that's when it just dawned on me. It was like, that's it. My drunk grandfather
Some
as a
people connect you
world's
with
worst
that.
life coach.
Yeah.
So I started making the videos to make fun of my friend. That was really the goal, was to make fun of my friend. I even told him I was doing it.
Yeah.
And so I started making these anti-influencer videos. That's why, and at the time, I had the hair and everything going. And so and I'm wearing coveralls and I'm standing in the woods and there's weird noises of cars going by. Half the time I'm coughing in the middle of the thing and I don't stop. I just finish coughing and go back to the video. He just doesn't care. Everything that's wrong, everything they tell you not to do,
You're doing.
Yeah.
with the Instagram video, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just making it bad. I'm just making bad videos with horrible advice is the way I was thinking of it. But the way it started playing out was in just taking everything and simplifying it, it became more impact's
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun, and just bringing all this philosophy into it. I'm tricking people into learning philosophy.
Yeah.
And
they love it.
Yeah, and it just started really connecting with people.
Yeah.
And so when it really started to impact me was when people were writing saying, hey, especially during COVID, everybody was like, oh, we thought it was going to be the end of the world. It was going to be the apocalypse. Zombies were going to start popping up. And, Jesus was going to come back and Armageddon was going to happen, and all these wars. And I'm sitting there going, no, I think this was just government overreach. I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And so instead of participating in the anger and the frustration, and I was like, I'm just gonna tell people to chill out and have a good time.
Yeah.
Because hey, look, we're all basically we're taking the year off is what's going on.
Yeah. Enjoy it.
I'm
while
spending
you
more
can.
time with my family than I've done in years. I'm just like, I was having a good time.
Yeah.
And so I started making these videos, and then as they caught on, the one went mega viral. I had people start sending me messages saying, hey man, this is the first time I've laughed in a long time. And I realized that it isn't that bad. I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
And that's when it just really kind of started to feel like a movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't stop now when you get good, feedback like that.
Yeah. And so I was just like, I'm just going to keep having fun. And it was always funny because the most ridiculous videos that I came up with were always the ones that did the best.
Yeah.
The ones I sat down there and thought, okay, I'm going to go into Nietzsche and I'm going to describe this and I'm going to bring in some influence of Kant and everything. Those were nowhere. But, the one time I just turned the video on and I don't even
Wing it,
know what I'm
did
going
it,
to say,
and-
just wing it. Those are the ones that go huge.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
People are they're very simple. And when you get something that's not so deep and stuff, people gravitate towards that, I think, because, they want something funny and relatable.
yeah.
And it's funny because I wonder how many people out there that have seen your videos, what percentage of them think that's really you,
You're him.
opposed to because I immediately knew, I'm like, this guy gets it. I didn't question if is this guy crazy? There's zero question in my mind. I mean, you could still be, but.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh no, I've had people who got absolutely angry when they found out that it was it was an act.
yeah.
They're just
And-
let down,
Yeah,
They
they're
were
let down because I felt such a connection with this person. I'm going, yeah, this is still me. It's
Right.
still a part of who I am
Right.
as
Yeah.
a character. And I had professionals reach out to me, make sure that I was getting the proper care because they thought
you
that
okay?
I was. Yeah, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had people that would get mad at me thinking that I was trying to make fun of people with disabilities. I'm going, who
That's
with
such a far
disabilities?
reach.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm like,
come
who with
on.
disabilities?
Yeah.
Plus, I point out, says, well, why do you think that everybody with a unique speech pattern is somehow neurodivergent or
Yeah.
mentally deficient?
Yeah.
I think you're the problem.
Yeah, right?
They get really mad at me because I'm like, because they're always expecting you to apologize for stuff. And I'm like, I'm not apologizing for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I made the one video. I can't even remember what the incident was. It was something on the internet. I had posted something and somebody got offended.
Of course.
And it was just, it was some lady. She was just like, oh, how are you dare mocking God or something. I can't remember. And it was something just really ridiculous. So just sort of out of spite for that lady, I made a video where I apologized without apologizing. Basically said, I'm sorry, you're an idiot. And that video's gone pretty crazy. So it's just
Yeah.
fun just making fun of all of what life is and
Yeah.
Yeah, there
just
was.
getting people to chill out and just relax.
Don't take it so seriously.
Yeah. We're all going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy life. Be
So,
happy. Don't be
yeah.
miserable.
Yeah.
Enjoy while you're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I keep hearing from really inspirational people, think about death all the time. And I've never agreed with it so more than I have in the last year, because the last year showed me that everything you know and love can change in a
Well,
split
everything's
second.
temporary.
Yeah.
And the more you think about that, the more you focus on it, the more you're going to live with appreciation, and
Yeah, I had the fortune to watch my brother die. He'd been battling cancer for 8 years, and he had finally got to the point where he was going through leukemia, and so I went in and got tested to see if I was a good bone marrow transplant for him. Turned out I was, but as he had to go through chemo, and then once he was done with the chemo, then they were going to do the bone marrow transplant. But the second session through chemo, and he had already been through chemo 3 times before this, they said he got so sick and was at the point of death that they said, we can't keep doing this. If the chemo is going to kill you. So we can't, there's nothing more we can do for you. You probably have 2 months to live, go home and die. Thanks for playing.
yeah.
So he goes home, and as the weeks go on, he's like, well, he's literally he's going to die. And so he said he just kind of sat around and watched Netflix a lot for the first little while, and then he thought, well, he started feeling better, and he was like, well, I got time, might as well. So we went and bought his own casket.
Yeah.
And he was an artist, so he pinstriped his own casket, and then he took the same design that he put on his casket, and he did that same design on his wife's motorcycle, so that when she went riding,
Oh my
it was
gosh.
like he was with her.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
And so he
Yeah.
does that, and then he just starts finding things to do every day. He's like, well, he wakes up and he goes, well, I'm still here. I guess I should do stuff. And he ended up living for 3-4 more years.
Jeez.
We went on a fishing trip with him. I took him back to Missouri to hang out with my mom and 2 of our sisters for a couple weeks. I mean, I got to have some really good quality time with him.
It's probably like people that like move and continue to do stuff keeps them doing stuff longer.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was really his thing. Was he said, he goes, as soon as I know I'm dying, he says, I stopped worrying about everything. He goes, if I want to eat a candy bar, I eat a candy bar.
Yeah.
He says, he goes, I don't know if I'm even going to have tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just enjoying today for what it is. And that was the attitude that he took. He says, some days are good, some days are bad.
Right.
And some days he doesn't want to do anything. And he says, that's fine. And, when he finally went, it was a shock. But at the same time, it was, it was kind of a relief, because we all knew he was in pain. He was
Yeah.
still struggling, and he still wasn't able to do everything he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But he left this life without any regrets. I mean, every
That's
person
awesome.
that knew him
Yeah.
knew how, had those moments to, say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's special. It's so lucky.
Yeah.
Really.
And now I just kind of carry that into everything now.
Yeah.
I especially when I see, people really close to me, I just think this could be the last time.
Yeah.
I think about
You
stuff
know?
like that too sometimes. And it's okay to think like
Sometimes.
that. Yeah.
all
Well,
the time.
okay, all the time.
No, both
When-
of us. And
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's not a sad. It's like,
exactly.
Right.
It's just more of a, hey, I really love you,
Yes.
and I appreciate you, and
Yep.
I'm enjoying this moment with you right now.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's kind of like losing a pet isn't like losing a human that you love. But when we lost our pit bull, like a lot of times when you bring your dogs to the vet, you know, and they're put down or whatever, they go in a room by themselves. And I was like, that's not happening. Like I held her. I was like, she needs to be with us.
yeah.
And
we brought our whole family, kids, and our other border collie, our other
Yeah.
dog, while we were putting her down and having her euthanized. We brought it was brutal.
There's no way I was going to leave her alone.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
She's like on every one of our podcasts,
Yeah.
other than the last two, I think. But
2 or 3, yeah.
big part of our family. But you know, and
It's just she knows when she's leaving. She knows that she was loved all the way.
Yeah.
To
Oh
the
my
end.
gosh. It's like she was asking us for help, you know, and
she
that's
had
what we had to do.
the life she had, you know, like
Yeah.
she was only 3, but man, she was out on her boat just about every weekend last summer. You know, she had a life.
She'd go hiking with us.
Yeah.
She did everything with us.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
life is short.
But that's just like when, you know, you lose something, someone, a pet or whatever, just being with them and loving them and showing them love. Mm-hmm. Ugh. Yeah.
I think you get out of life what you put into life, and I think if you put in a lot of appreciation and love, I mean, in my experience, because I am so fortunate, and a lot of people that
Yes.
know what we've been through in the last year would be like, you know, the fact that I could say that is, you know, it's powerful. But
Yes.
you know, when you go through hard times, it amplifies your appreciation. So
But if you look at it like that,
Yes.
going through her, it depends on where you are at in your mind.
it's taken me a while.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, this is something else I wanted to talk about, but my space case self can never stay on track. It was, I think, September or so of last year. I posted my first video, and it was just a video of myself driving, and I was talking about going into the VA, into a mental health clinic, because I was going through so much, and I'm like, man, I am concerned about myself. You know, I got to get checked out. You know, and I openly talked about my experience going in there and coming out of there, and what I went through. You know, 'cause it was an incredible experience, because you know I've talked about this in a lot of other things, so I feel pretty redundant, but. You know, having a professional tell me, hey, I don't believe you need medication. I think you're doing great. You're just going through some very stressful situations. And hearing that from somebody else was pretty powerful. And then on top of that VA cop that was in there,
Yeah.
you know, he went out of his way to he saw me in the waiting room, thought to himself, hey, he doesn't look good. This guy sat down with me, and he just listened. He cared.
Yeah.
You know, that's all he did. And I went back to my therapist, which I never in a million years thought I'd have a therapist. I've always said, I'm an open book. I don't need a fucking therapist.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I can talk to her about anything. But, you know, I started going to therapy mainly just to check that off, you know, and I told her about my experience with that VA cop, and I asked her if I could write a letter, you know, of thanking him, and I did, and she sent it to him, and it got to his chief of police, and he got an I Care award. I don't know what that is.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, and it's cool because I'm now friends with him on Instagram. I talked about having him on my podcast. He's from Syracuse.
Yeah.
And he got an award, and you know, he
Yes, he
sent a picture
should.
of his award on
That's
Instagram to
awesome.
me, and man, it made me feel good. You know, hopefully he got something out of that, more than just
Yeah.
a plaque on the wall, maybe a dinner or something. I hope.
Yeah.
But they did
Yeah.
acknowledge him in front of a group of people and stuff, so that was really cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really cool.
There needs to be more people like that.
Yeah. Well, you know, people ask me all the time, because I get letters, you know, from people, you know, emails and stuff. People are going through a hard time and want to
Advice
think
and
that
stuff.
I've got some magic wand I'm going to fix them with. And the thing I find is that people don't really need to hear something from you. They just need to know that they're being heard.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so when they ask me for help, I just say, well, what is it that you're looking for? What do you need? And I have them help themselves. I just draw it out of them. What is it that
Yeah.
you need to hear? What is it that you need to say?
Yeah.
And you know, they go, oh, you're such a miracle worker. No, you are.
Like it was you,
You
right.
are.
Yeah.
You're the one
Yeah.
who fixed yourself. I just pointed it out to you.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, you know, trying to break down that stereotype against people going and getting help, getting therapy. You know, especially our older generations, we look at it that it was somehow, you know, it was something you kept under
Yeah.
hush. You didn't
Yeah.
admit that you had problems. You,
You don't
didn't
want people
admit
to
these
know.
things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whereas the younger generation, it's a badge of honor now,
Yeah.
which is good to some degree. Could be bad to others, but just knowing, and I tell people, is, when you experience like PTSD or anxiety, that's not your brain breaking. That's not you having a problem. That's your brain doing its job. It's saying, hey, look, there's a problem here. We need to take care of it. We need to focus on it.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're broken. It's you're actually doing it right. It's
like a
when,
survival mode.
yeah, if you cut yourself and you get an infection and you're in pain because of the infection, sitting there go, oh, my body's broken. It's because
Doing its job.
because I have all these white blood cells coursing through my body and attacking the infection. Oh no, this is terrible. You would, you know what I mean? And so those, trying to explain that to people, it's been fun just seeing people realize, oh, yeah, I'm not so bad. I get, we all get depressed. We all have things that that bring us down, and it's just part of life.
It is, because people talk about, your physical health. Let's go to the doctors. You have a cut, you have a headache, whatever, you broke your leg. They don't talk about your mental health.
Yeah.
And how, what to do with anything.
Yeah. Well, you hear, just suck it up.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Get over it. Yeah.
It's like some people can. Some people can just deal with it on their own and work through it. But some people need help. Some things are bigger issues. Well, no, a lot of times just realizing there is a problem and that you do need help. A lot of times that's
Number
what you
one.
need to get over it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that want to be better, but they don't want to put any effort into making themselves better.
Or they
Yeah.
want
Well,
someone to do it for them.
Or they become so addicted to the pain. They become addicted to being the victim. It becomes part of their personality.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like I like to say, some people are happiest when they're miserable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And I knew people growing up. I knew people in my family that they were just, as soon as things were going great and happy, they had to find a reason that it was horrible. And you just realize some people they just want to be miserable. That's what brings them joy. So let them be miserable. Yeah. It's okay. I don't need to fix everybody.
No. Yeah. How do you get so many ideas for your videos? Like on TikTok and whatnot, like you have so many ideas, and sometimes I'm like struggling trying to think of stuff.
I always think, well, my first thing is, what's something I need to hear right now? Most of these videos are me talking to myself, quite literally.
I like that.
The other time is when other people will ask questions and things.
Oh, okay.
And so, in answering their questions through video. The other thing I also realize is you don't have to worry about talking about the same thing over and over again, because we all do.
I worry about that a lot.
You think, well, I already did a video about that. And it's like, but the trick is always bringing something new and different to it. And I always think of it that like I said, I'm talking to one person, and I'm thinking, what does this one person need to hear? Even a lot of times that one person's me, but, and people you love and you care about, you don't run out of things you talk about.
Right.
And so I just think of it that way. It's just, to me, it's just an ongoing conversation with friends.
So like when you first did your TikTok videos, being the silly Rodney Norman, did you like record a lot and be like, did you pick one, or you like just went with it and posted it?
90% of the time it's the first take.
Okay.
And even if there's mistakes, I've learned to just not care. Like I did one today where I had the idea in my head where I was just, telling people, you're a complete disaster, your life is a mess, but that's why I like you. That's why I love you, because my life's a mess too.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I started the video and I stopped at one point because I was like, no, that's not exactly what I was trying to say. And then I thought, what am I trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say.
And you say that in your
And
video.
then I thought, no, I was fine. Let's just go back and then I just did the video. But usually I do it in one take.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually the spur of the moment is the best. There's just that pure inspiration,
Realness.
just realness.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the times that I plot it out and figure out exactly how to make it perfect, no one cares.
Right.
But the one time where choked up on what I'm saying. I'm repeating myself. I sound like an idiot. That's the one that breaks free.
Everyone loves those.
I'm going to use
Yeah.
that because I am
Yeah.
so self-critical. You know, there's a lot of times I get caught up in my own words and stuff, but you know, I'm just going to say screw it, and I need to care less.
Well,
Yes.
everybody's trying to be so perfect
Yeah.
at everything. You know, the perfect edit, the perfect lighting, perfect
Mm-hmm.
sound. Everything's perfect on their videos. That I think people have become desensitized to it.
Yeah.
But if you look at the things that really take off, a lot of times it's just that pure raw moment that somebody captures.
Mm-hmm.
Just either by accident or by happenstance. It's
Yeah.
just that moment of just it just feels real.
Yeah.
And so
they
by
want.
not worrying about being perfect and just let it be what it is, it feels more real.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
becomes
Yeah.
more authentic,
More authentic,
more
yeah.
organic.
Yeah.
And so that's how I just in fact my rule is if I hated the way it turned out, that's the one I'm going with.
Maybe I should try that.
Well, I had one that I was, you know, people hire me to wish people a happy birthday.
Okay.
That's
so fun. It's awesome.
primarily what I do during the day is just make videos wishing people happy birthday
That's
and
awesome.
anniversaries and
Yeah.
stuff. And so I was out in my backyard and I was making this one and I just finished it. And I was getting ready to go move the camera to do something else. And as I went to grab the camera, I accidentally hit record. So the camera's rolling and I'm staring at it and I just thought, what the heck? And so I just started
Go with it.
rambling. I just started rambling. And it was the one where I tell people, I said, you know, you feel like everything's falling apart, your life's miserable. Well, I just want you to know you're nothing special. We're all going through it. We're all having a miserable time. But look, you can either get upset about it or you can just move on.
Yeah.
So why don't you just, you know, eat a cookie, listen to an accordion player, whatever, you know, you're going to be fine. You know, just move on with yourself.
Yeah.
And when I was done recording that video, I thought, that is one of the stupidest things I've ever said. It was just dumb. And I really was just not going to share. I was that is stupid.
Yeah.
And anyway, I finished up what else I was doing. I go back up to the house and I put all the videos in, you know, put on my laptop and I start going through them. And I get to that one, I was just like, and I was ready to hit delete.
Yeah.
And then I just thought, no, this is so stupid. I'm gonna share this.
Try. Yeah.
So I put it out there, and it turned out to be one of my biggest videos
Really?
ever.
That's so funny.
And the funniest thing to me about it was that I had people, because I put it up there that just said, "You're nothing special," and I'd get all this hate mail. How dare you tell people this? You know, we're special in God's eyes and everything. I'm going. And I basically was like, well, let me know you didn't actually watch the video without telling me you didn't watch the video because that's not what they said. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
And that was also the time that I realized that if you do something that creates controversy, sweet, that's awesome. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we all trying to be non-confrontational. It's like, no, man, if I can ruffle some feathers,
Yeah.
let's do it.
I'm surprised nothing's happened with us yet. Well, knock on wood. But
Yeah.
I mean, if so,
No, I'm
whatever,
sure it
I
will.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100% will.
Oh,
Especially
well. I mean,
with
we just
me.
speak our mind too, and no one said anything
Oh, yeah.
yet.
No, I think I bothered somebody. I think in one of my earlier episodes, I think I touched upon something. I was a little insensitive the way I brought it up, but it just how people don't like to put effort in for weight loss, for example, or
yeah.
you know, God, really anything. People just
Yeah.
don't like to put in work anymore.
Yeah.
People want instant results
So someone
with
got mad
no
when
effort.
you said something about that?
Yeah, we want to
Yeah.
eliminate the responsibility for our own problems.
Yes,
Yeah.
and accountability. There's no accountability.
And so if we
No.
can blame something else, oh, it's my thyroid, oh, it's this,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
an emotional thing that happened to me when I was 6.
Yeah.
That's why I have all
Exactly.
these problems.
So at what point in your career, with the comedy aspect of it, did you start to realize like, hey, it's my thing, and you really enjoyed it and it was taking off? Did it take off prior to you realizing you were doing your thing and it was working? Or?
Well, yeah, you know, the character, because I'd done other characters and I'd done other bits, but this one particular video in character is the one that blew up. And so everybody thought, well, this is who this guy is. And I had people also who knew that it was a character who wrote to me. It's like, oh, you got to play it. You can never be anything else. You just got to be always this character. And I'm going like, I don't want to do this. I was like, look, I've got more that I want to talk about, more that I want to explore.
Yeah.
If people aren't happy about it, that's their problem. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it just, you just just do what you're doing and have fun. And people get offended. Good for you.
It's not your fault.
Yeah,
They
that's the
feel
one
like
thing.
that.
Other people's opinions of me is not my problem.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
I say you can just skip, or I always have fun because when people say negative things, usually just ignore them. And if they say something really nasty, I'll just delete the comment and block them. I
Don't give them
people
time of day.
Yeah, people say, "Oh, I hate this person," and I'm just like, well, let me do you a favor. I'll just block you so you never have to see me ever again.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I forget about them, move on.
Yeah.
A lot of times the best thing you can do with somebody who is trying to start a fight is just ignore them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's one thing I learned on as a comic. Somebody's trying to heckle you and you just don't want to deal with it. Just pretend you didn't hear them. And that pisses them off more than anything because, because they're not being heard and they're,
Did you always feel like this when people would say anything negative, or did it take time for you to kind of learn to just let that go?
I always felt that way, but when you hit like I said, when it hits a level, when you have your videos start hitting millions of views, and then the attacks become more personal, because they start attacking you for all weird things, and then start accusing you of things, like for some reason there was something that had gone out that I was somehow this multimillionaire. And that I was making these videos to basically make fun of common people. And I'm like, I have no idea where this came from. So so I had people were popping up in my feeds and, saying, because they believe this story. I have no idea where it came from.
Some weird person just made it up because who knows why?
Yeah, well,
they're
they
miserable.
get jealous. They just,
Yeah.
And, it's like when they start attacking you for things that you weren't expecting. It was like, hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
But then when you realize it's all the same. When people are lashing out, it's usually there's something wrong in their own life. And
Yes, exactly. It's about them. It has nothing to do with you.
yeah,
I say that all the time.
That's the best way to take it.
Yeah.
Plus, I also look at it that here I have, I'll have 100 comments on a video, and it'll be one negative one. And that's the one that bothers me. And I know because, as a comic, also when you're on stage, you have in front of a crowd of 500 people, and it's the one guy sitting there in the second row with his arms crossed staring at you. That's the guy that you're focused on because he's the one guy that's not enjoying himself.
Yeah.
And it irks you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you got to ignore those people.
Little Debbie Downer.
Because here's 99 other people that are saying very positive things.
Yes.
Why don't I spend my time and energy with them?
Yeah.
Saying thank you, or just liking their comment.
Yep.
And then have that one person that's got something negative to say. I either ignore them or I had one guy said some real nasty things about me. And I knew there's no way this guy knows me. They would say this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I just private messaged him. I was just like, are you okay? Did there something I did that invoked such anger and hostility from you? I mean, what was it that, he'd been told that his wife was leaving him. She was sleeping with his friend. And so he was taking it. He goes, I'm really having a bad day. And I saw your video telling people to be happy and positive. And I was like, F you. And I was like, okay, well, hey, dude, I'm sorry you're going through that.
Wow.
He took his comment down, and since he's become a fan.
Wow.
It's
Cool.
it's funny you say that. I had a friend of mine, a kid I went to school with. He messaged me, a few weeks ago, and he's like, fuck your drone footage, fuck your new equipment, and out of nowhere. And I'm like, dude, I'm generally pretty nice to you. Like, everything all right? Like, I didn't take offense to it. And he's like, and next thing you know, this guy called me, and on Facebook Messenger, and he apologized. Like, he's going through a hard time.
Yeah.
And it's funny. We talked for a while, and is right after my dog died, and I wasn't motivated at all. We went 2 weeks of just no social media and stuff, which I thought would be nice, but I just was thinking about dwelling on these issues that I've had in the past year. So, but yeah, he called me, we had a conversation, and I was I want to say the next day was when I literally messaged you, and you know, and then and I had just back to back, you know, just momentum and things kind of falling into my lap, you know, opportunity and
Opportunity because you are going after it.
yeah, no, it's weird. I see opportunity everywhere I look now.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to open your eyes, you know, and I don't mean opportunity to you know, better myself or anything like that necessarily, but just opportunity to, you know, hopefully grow and do things that I have no idea where this podcast is going or where it could go, but I sure as heck didn't think I'd be sitting in this beautiful restaurant. And,
know.
Absolutely.
You know, these people are awesome. They let us use this, and apparently they do podcasting and stuff as well. And, you know, so hopefully we can promote them, and
We will.
This is going to be awesome. The food looks like it's going to be amazing. So
It's going to be the spot.
yeah.
Well, that's getting people to realize that you have more options than you think.
Yes.
You know, we box ourselves in thinking it has to be this way, and it's
Yeah.
like no,
Yeah.
it does. It's
There's so
not
many.
like that at all. There's so much opportunity out there.
Yeah.
So many different things you could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a nephew who was he was really bummed out a few years ago. He was feeling like his life wasn't going anywhere and didn't not sure which direction to go with himself, and so I finally said, well, what's the one thing that you have that you just absolutely just love to do that you don't need to get paid to be happy? You're happy to do it. He's into collecting flags.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He has one of the largest private collections of flags in the country.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
And I said, well, what are you doing with that? And he goes, well, I just like having them. I said, well, why don't you start making videos about them? Why don't you start a thing? Because you can get invited to speak in places if you just, tell the stories about the flags.
Yeah.
I said, people don't necessarily care about the flag itself, but if there's something behind it
Yeah.
that makes
Exactly.
it interesting,
Yes.
they want to hear those stories. And so he's just started doing it. I did a couple podcasts with him, where we talked about different flags and different traditions of flags. And I mean, he goes through and he teaches, honor guards how to present the flag, fold the flag, all that kind of stuff. And he's eventually, he became the official flag professional for the state of Utah. So anytime they have dignitaries come into the state of Utah, they contact him because he most likely has the flag of that country.
That's awesome.
And then
That is
also
really
knows
cool.
he studied up all the traditions and everything of how to present the flag, or how their dignitaries are expected to be greeted and all that kind of stuff. And he also works with the U.S. Olympic Committee and all these different things. And it just came from I said, well, just
Like
put
a
yourself
hobby.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's gotten awards, and he's been on TV many times, and it's all just from flags.
That's
Yeah.
That's
so
it.
crazy.
But he has
Yeah.
such a passion for it that
Yeah.
that it opened up all these other doors to him.
Yeah.
And now he works for the largest flag manufacturer in the United States.
Yep.
He got brought in. They have the big American flags they have put out on football fields and stuff.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl.
Wow.
Those are his flags. He makes
Yeah.
those and designs those and he goes to the Super Bowl and he taught everybody how to roll it out, how to roll it back in,
Wow.
and how to move it, and that's his job. And it's just from doing something that he just loves. And I tell people, just fun, especially now more than ever.
Yeah.
You could just make a career out of just your little passion, because there's enough people out there
Yeah.
who are interested in what you're doing. My
Yeah.
wife
Oh,
just
yeah.
got into making soap.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I had no idea that there are thousands and millions of people in this world that love making soap. And, and she goes on,
That's true.
she
Yeah.
goes on the, her Facebook groups and stuff. And there's all these people are into making soap. And
You can think of the
people-
weirdest thing and people like it.
Yeah,
You know?
and there's people who have thousands of views on videos on YouTube just showing you how to make soap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
People
whatever
watch
it
those
is.
videos of people cleaning rugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on. Which I've watched that before.
I've gone
So
down that rabbit
satisfying.
hole where I'm just watching people pick zits.
Yeah.
Ew.
I mean, it's just there's just the weirdest things.
Yeah.
But it's it's a testament that just whatever it is. You
Yeah.
now more than ever you can get out there,
Yeah.
meet those people, and be that guy. You
Yeah.
want to be the master of rug cleaning. Get out there and do it.
Who would have thunk it? That's so funny.
Yeah.
And I think as AI starts replacing jobs, because it's a thing that's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Maybe
Yeah.
not all jobs, but I think it's going to allow people to do their niche. Utilize their creativity to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And on top of that, with utilizing AI to be creative and stuff like that. But then again, I'm just hoping there's ethics that remain behind it, because there's a lot of negativity that can come from that as well.
Oh yeah,
It's scary.
Did you see that thing? That principal in a high school near Philadelphia,
No.
he got suspended for a couple weeks because somebody put out an audio clip of him saying some horrible things, some very racist things, and it got him suspended, almost got him fired until the FBI got involved,
It wasn't
Wow.
him.
and they were able to determine that the audio clip was created by AI.
Oh,
But it sounded just like him. I mean, it was like, he was trying to deny it. He's like, I never said this, and they're like, oh, yeah, right,
that's so sad that someone would do that, though.
Yeah,
Come on.
and it just turned out to be it was a teacher that he had a disagreement with who wasn't getting fired, but wasn't going to be returning after the end of the year. And so he was trying to, bring the superintendent
Wow.
down, but the FBI was able to,
Good for them.
figure out who and what happened. But it was scary because it took a while for that to be figured out. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, how close are we to, having
People can get
people's lives
hurt.
get
Yeah.
destroyed because of it?
Right.
And if you don't have the money to fight it, or, it could be pretty damning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's only the beginning. Like we just started.
Yeah, and it gets better every day.
It's gonna
AI gets
snowball.
more and more
Yeah.
believable all the time.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Well, there was this girl that was on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and she was like this perfect human being. Guys loved her, and people would ask her out on dates and to get married and stuff, and she kept saying no. She wasn't real. She was AI, and people thought she was real.
Oh, yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
she looked real. It's crazy.
Yeah, there was a case of that. Some guy in Japan, he was like a 60-year-old man in Japan, and he was playing the part of a 17-year-old girl
Jeez.
with AI.
So weird. Yeah. Wow.
Those things that I did, which I deleted because I'm like, I don't want to get in trouble and lose my content. But you downloaded an app. I think it was called Parrot, and it had 2 free options where you could put in
Oh, I
a
know
script
what
and they
you're
will say
talking
what you
about.
want to say. And the only options that they had there, that unless you paid for the app, was Trump and Biden. And again, I don't try to avoid politics and stuff, but
Yeah.
I decided to play around with it, and I made
Yeah.
one of Trump and Biden talking about my podcast.
Yeah,
And it
was
is
real.
real looking and sounding. It's got video as well. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy what
I
you
mean,
can
it
do
was
with technology.
funny.
It was
It was
hilarious.
funny that you made those 2 human beings say stuff like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
That's why we
Yeah.
took it down. But I mean, it was funny. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Maybe I need to care less, but then again, I think they're developing policies now, and they're going to probably get more strict with it as it becomes more of a thing, where I think it's going to become a law, or already is a law. At least on YouTube, they put up a disclaimer when you're posting anything. It says, "Is there any sort of footage that could represent false?" I don't know how they word it, but
you
essentially doing exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So would you have to say like, this is not them? Or
I don't
can
know.
Oh,
you just not post it at
Well,
all?
it's interesting because on Cameo, people can hire me to say things.
Yeah.
Usually it's birthdays or whatever. But I had one that sent this stuff in, and what it was they wanted me to make fun of their friend
Okay.
and encourage him to come out as being gay, even though he wasn't gay. But they wanted, and they had some really horrible things for me to say about him.
Oh,
And I didn't do it.
yeah.
I was just really nice about, I just made the video just teasing him,
Yeah.
but not
Not
Crossing
going
the line.
overboard.
not
like
crossing
that.
the line.
Yeah.
And I worry about that kind of stuff because I was like, your people are trying to get me in real time, trying to say things that are horrible. Now, they could take AI and have my character say really nasty
Anything.
things, and then people would come back and say, "Why did you say that?" I'm like, "It wasn't me." Oh no,
I've
I
thought
have
about
you right
that.
here on my phone
yeah,
saying
right
it.
here
Yeah.
you saying this, and it's like we're right there to
Yeah.
that happening, and that's
Scary.
We have a lot of content out there for people to use, because the more data sets, the more input they have, the more accurate the AI is going to be.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
we're screwed.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we'll wrap. We're actually going out to dinner And yeah, I want to do another shout out and thanks to the owners of the farmhouse.
The farmhouse.
This is a gorgeous place.
It
Nice
Yes.
spot.
I
It's
can't
gonna be sweet.
wait for them to be open.
Yeah, and they're going to be doing a lot of things. It looks like with the community and stuff. You know, they're going to be
Yep.
doing farmers market here and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's really cool. So maybe I'll give the owner, because they are here, an opportunity. Okay, all right. He'd probably have to be prepped. He's been working all day. So, but anyway, I appreciate everybody's support and
So much.
You know, I hate always asking this. I try to throw this in the videos though. You know, we do appreciate the liking, subscribing, and commenting, feedback.
Communication. We
Yeah.
want people to say stuff.
Good or bad, we
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
care. We like the
Anything.
feedback. And,
Yeah.
I'd like to improve, and I'm learning. There's a lot of improvement I have to work on, but
We're getting there.
yeah,
Always stuff to learn
absolutely.
forever.
Yep.
But yeah, and we appreciate it. Appreciate Rodney making the trip
Yeah,
out here. This
thank
is
you
freaking
so much.
awesome. Awesome
It was
experience.
Oh, it was
cool.
a pleasure.
Yeah.
Absolute. Thank you for having me.
No
Yeah.
problem. But anyway, you guys have a good night. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.